Well, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a Krampus inspired tutorial, which is kind of what it turned into as I was doing my palette resurrection. It's gonna be like the eye look, of course, and then I'm gonna show you how I got the lip look that was kind of an afterthought. Like, I thought after I did it, I was like, well, I probably should have filmed that. So I'm gonna kind of show you what I did. It was pretty easy. All I did was basically line my lips in highlighter and then pat like a brown lipstick on the inner part of my lip, and like, I mean, it's really that simple. But I will kind of show you how I did that after I do the eye look. The eye look, of course, is the most important part here today. And I'm going to be resurrecting the Venus palette, of course. This is like the epitome of dead palettes, in my opinion, because this is basically like my first palette that I ever got, like my first eyeshadow palette. It is the thing that like got me back into makeup. I mean, I've loved makeup for a really long time, but the Venus palette is really what inspired me to get better at makeup, I guess I should say. So I'm gonna spill some tea real quick, if you guys don't mind. I don't really know how else to say it now. Like, that is, it's ingrained in my head. It's called spilling tea. I'm going to express a universal truth that I think to be true. I'm assuming to be true. Now, I think that Anastasia Beverly Hills might have just maybe a little bit ripped off the Venus palette. There, I said it. Ugh. The lime crime kind of started the whole red and orange trend, which is fine, and of course other brands were going to jump on it because it was extremely successful and of course surrounded by controversy, and therefore lime crime needed to just pass that torch along so that people could feel good about owning something very similar to this, I guess. So I'm not like sitting here talking shit about Anastasia, but did they have to call it Modern Renaissance? I love the name of that palette, don't get me wrong. I love the whole theme. But did they have to go with the Renaissance theme? So I don't necessarily think that these colors are 100% like immediately associated with the Italian Renaissance. However, this palette is themed, I mean, it's Renaissance themed. I mean, there's even a friggin' shadow in here called Rebirth, and rebirth means Renaissance, so, or Renaissance means rebirth, however you want to say it. It's kind of interesting to me how Modern Renaissance like took that theme and just ran with it, and they have Primavera and Tempera and all these other like Italian and Renaissance themed words in there. I don't know, I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's just an observation, and because I'm resurrecting this palette, I did want to acknowledge that this is the palette that kind of started that whole red and orange and warm toned eyeshadow trend. But of course, I'm not doing anything particularly inspired by the Renaissance today. I'm gonna do this Krampus inspired look. Like I said, that's what it turned into. The more I did it, the only reason I even made the Krampus connection was because like one of my friends posted an Instagram yesterday of her wearing a Krampus shirt, and I was like, why do I feel like Krampus right now with this eye look? And then I just kind of wanted to make my lips look old and shrivelly and creepy, and then, yeah, and then it just, and here we are. So if you're going to a Krampus party as opposed to a Christmas party, maybe steal this look. Why not? If anybody has no idea who Krampus was, or is, it's like a mythical figure, of course, but instead of Santa who rewards kids for being good, Krampus punishes kids for being bad. Where Santa Claus spreads the Christmas cheer, Krampus spreads the Christmas fear. I came up with that one all by myself. If you haven't been keeping up with my 25 days of dead palettes walking, I will link the playlist down below. It's basically, this month I'm going on a no buy, at least for eyeshadow palettes. I'm not buying any more eyeshadow palettes because that is like the thing that I buy the most and the thing that I just can't resist, especially around the holidays. Instead, I'm going to do a friggin' new eyeshadow look every single day with one of the palettes that I already own, and I'm just kind of working my way through my palette collection. So if you want to keep up with that, I'll link the playlist, and stay tuned for tomorrow because I will be doing a new palette then. I hope you all enjoy this look. Let's go ahead and get to the tutorial. So first I'm going to take a synthetic fluffy brush and go into the shade Divine. I think this shade works better when you take like more denser, fluffier brushes. It's a really soft brush as well. It doesn't really give off the same amount of intensity when you use like a natural hair brush. So I'm gonna put that right in my eye socket, right under my brow bone, and just go back and forth, resisting the urge to go too far up or down. I just want to make sure it gets pretty dark right in that eye socket. I'm gonna build it up without blurring out the edges too much, just because I want to make sure I am creating a nice gradient. going to take a smaller synthetic brush. I'm going to go into the shade Creation. This is a Real Techniques Essential Crease brush, as a matter of fact. And I'm going to put that right in my eye socket. If you can tell, I'm keeping my eye open to an extent just to prevent it from going up too high. I've noticed when I keep my eye open, because I have deep sockets, it keeps my brush in that crease as opposed to going up onto my brow bone. Then I'm going to go into the shade Icon. I'm taking this little Cosette brush. It's a really slender, really fluffy brush. And again, I'm keeping my eye open to an extent just to keep that brush lodged in my eye socket. And I'm going to go back and forth, again, not going too far up or down with it. I just want to keep that brown right in the line there, right in the deepest part of my crease. That's what she said. That way I'll create like a nice gradient there. I'm going to blur out the edges with that brush after I cleaned it off a bit. Then I'm going to go into Muse with this little e.l.f. crease brush. It's the detail crease brush, I believe. It's really dense, kind of scratchy, but serves the purpose I need. I'm going to pack that onto my outer corner as best I can. That shade requires a fair amount of package, so yeah. I'm kind of blurring it into the brown to create a bit of a transition there between the two shades, almost, I don't know, making the brown look a little bit red, but just barely. I just want to blend those two things in together. I don't want to drag the red up too high. I still want the edge of the eye to have like the brownish look. And then I'm just going to go back and forth with it and make sure I've connected those two reds, if you can see, but beneath the brown. Once again, I'm barely touching my brush right here. I know it looks like I'm touching the brown, but I'm just barely touching it. Then I'm going to take a wet brush and go into Aura. I'm going to pack that onto the center of my lid and drag it up just a little bit further than where that little blank space is. And then I'm going to let it dry. I've found that's the best way to get this shadow to work. Finally, the white balance fixed itself, so that is more true to color right here, what it actually looks like. Then after it dries, I'm going to take this tiny little fluffy brush and I'm going to blend out the edges of it and try to take down the sheen just a bit. I kind of want a more satin finish to where it looks slightly glossy, but not sparkly. Then I'm going to go back into Muse and I'm going to work on that inner and outer corner again and pack on the red that I kind of swiped away just now, and then just blend out the edges of it. Then I'm going to go back into Aura once again and just re-intensify that tiny little bit right next to my lash line. Then I'm going to go into Muse for my lower lash line. I'm taking this pretty dense pencil brush and I'm going to put that all over my entire lower lash line, trying to keep it right there next to my lash line, and then I'll blend it out with a different brush. So I'm going to go into Divine with this little fluffy brush, and that's what I'm going to use to blend out that red on my lower lash line. Do one last blend of the entire thing, just making sure my entire eye socket is full of shadow. Then I'm going to deepen up that outer corner just a tiny bit with the brown shade Icon, but not too much. And then I'm just going to blend that out with the same brush I used to blend out my lower lash line, but I only want to keep that on my outer corner there. This is what it looks like before mascara, and honestly, you probably don't even need mascara for this look. Then I'm going to show you how I got my lip shade. So basically all I did was just take Moonstone. I'm literally going over what I already have on there. The same thing I did, I patted it on the edges of my lips, almost like I'm lining my lips with highlighter. Then I'm taking that Bite Beauty Amuse Bouche in the shade Libra, and I'm patting it onto the center of my lips here, and then just blurring it out by like pressing my lips together. Give the illusion of like old wrinkly lips. Alright y'all, I hope you liked this video. Please let me know in the comments. Give it a thumbs up if you did like it. Hit the subscribe button if you want to. Follow me on Instagram and all that jazz. I'll put in the description box. Otherwise, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Later.